Hello, welcome to the shop, home of everything from the frightening to the forbidden. How can I help you? Food. I'm afraid we don't sell that here. Or at least any we have you wouldn't want to eat. You must be desperate if you've come here, of all places, for food. What is happening out there? Panic buying combined with an import shortage. Well, it's not ideal, but people have gotten through worse. So much worse. I might not be able to offer you food, but how about some nourishment for the mind? A story about people in a situation not so dissimilar to yourself. Excellent. Draw up a chair, and I'll begin. Begin the tale of the Black Dog of Newgate. "1596 was a troubling year for England. Disease and bad harvests were forcing people from all classes into a state of starvation. However, none so were more affected than the poor and the marginalized. With this in mind, consider being incarcerated at Newgate Prison. When regular law-abiding citizens out in the streets are starving, who would care about the robbers, murderers, and the conmen behind bars? Now, imagine being a prisoner, shunned by all the other inmates, finding yourself on the bottom rung of a ladder that leads nowhere. This is exactly the situation inmates accused of witchcraft found themselves in. It's in this environment, when food is scarce and tempers run high, that one discovers what they are truly capable of. Tell me, how hungry would you have to be to eat a fellow man? Perhaps if that man was an outcast of society, the burden on you would be lessened. No, of course not. I'm sure your morals are far too mighty for that. However, when the prisoners had a convicted sorcerer cast in amongst them, they saw it as a blessing. A man who, if he had been left alive, would surely have placed curses and spells on all those in the vicinity anyway. So, they killed him, and, like a pack of feral animals, tore him apart, consuming him without a guilty conscience. The thing people tend to fail to understand about sorcery is that it doesn't necessarily end once death has been encountered. This was a lesson those cannibalistic inmates were soon to learn all too well. In the nights that followed their heinous act, almighty screams could be heard ringing down the corridors of the prison. The people that the screams originated from had two interesting things in common. The first is that they all partook in the murder and consumption of that sorcerer, and the second is that they were dead. Nothing more than a mess of gristle and bone on the stone floor of their cell. After a few nights, the rumours began. Those in neighbouring cells spoke of the monstrous figure of a shadowy demon dog pacing up and down the corridor. Fearing to look for too long, they would hide and then be treated to a series of deep growls before the screaming of the condemned would begin. The pattern of death was of course identified, and it's at this point that the story differs slightly, depending on who tells it. Some say the cannibalistic prisoners were stalked in the dark shadows of the prison and picked off, one by one. Others say that some successfully escaped, but were then hunted down wherever they hid, ripped apart by an unknown beast. I suppose it doesn't matter which you choose to believe. The end result is the same. Of course, Newgate Prison is demolished now, has been for some time in fact. However, even though the demon dog fulfilled its vengeful hunger, they say its presence can still be felt. Amon Court is the site that used to be the hallway that led to where the prisoners would be executed. It's said that a black mass can be seen here, but there is no consensus to whether this is the Black Dog of Newgate or not. Well, there is a little reminder of how bad things can get. I do hope you find another shop that can meet your needs. Remember, your actions will have consequences.